What is going on, guys? This is Wizard of Oz bringing you another Madden 20 video, and today I wanted to cover a question that I've had asked of me several times in the past. Thought I would make a video out of it, and it is going to cover chemistries, how to use them, how to boost your team with them, which ones are the best in my opinion, and all that good stuff. Before we get into the video, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed recently, and of course all my longtime subscribers. We just hit over 750 recently, so thank you guys so much for subscribing. And if you're new to the channel and you're enjoying the content, consider hitting that subscribe button and the bell icon below so you can know as soon as my videos come out. A lot of times they are time sensitive when they're coin methods and things like that, so you're going to want to hit that bell so you know as soon as they come out. Alright, so let's get back into the video. So essentially with chemistries, you're going to have 4 different types. You have your team chems, you have your scheme chems, your physical chems, and your coach chems. At least that's what I call them all. I don't know if there's official names for some of them. So the first one is one that I don't actually run yet. That is team chemistries, and that is when you're building a theme team. So let's say I'm building a team here. Let's see, who do I have the most? The Chiefs. So let's say I'm building a Chiefs theme team. Over here on the right side of each page is going to show you your chemistries. We'll go over the other ones, but we're going to go over team chemistries first. This is just going to be a basic overview at first, just about like what the chemistries are, how to see them, how to activate them, all that. But I am going to get more in depth onto each one, which ones I think are the best, which ones you should use for your team depending on your play style. But anyway, over here you can see I have 9 out of 10 on the Chiefs theme team. And if you click on it, it will highlight all the players. You can see Mitchell Schwartz, my right tackle there, Tyreek Hill. So if I go over on the defensive side, you can see the same thing here. The team chemistries apply to your entire team. As you can see, I still have 9 out of 10 on the defensive side, even though I only have the one defensive lineman down there who plays for the Chiefs. So these apply to your entire team. And let's go through what each tier does. Each tier is 5 players. So to get tier 1, you need 5, tier 2, you need 10, tier 3, 15, so on and so forth. You can max out at 50 overall. So tier 1, you get +1 strength, tier 2, +1 jump, tier 3, +1 agility, if it will let me go down, plus tier 4 is 1 acceleration. Tier 5 is a big one. That's 25 players. That's +1 speed. Acceleration and speed are both very, very important, especially on your skill players. 6 is 1 more strength. 7 is 1 more jump. 8, 1 more agility. 9, 1 more excel. And 10, 1 more speed. So overall, if you max it out with 50 players, you can get +2 to all of these stats here, which is really, really good. Again, especially for acceleration and speed on some of those skill guys, those are probably the most important ones for them. So team chemistries are really great. The downside to using team chemistries though is a lot of times, especially towards the beginning of the year, now you can make a little bit better theme teams, but at the beginning of the year, it's hard to make a good theme team because you've really only got a couple of good players usually on each team. Like for example, I'm a Ravens fan, so if I wanted to build a Ravens team at the beginning of the year, let's see, we didn't get a good linebacker. We got Ray Lewis at Halloween. Lamar Jackson was not very good. Well, he did get a good team of the week starting out. It was a 90 overall, I believe. Fullback was all right. They had a few tight ends, but I'm just saying at the beginning of the year, you're usually only going to have 1, 2, maybe 3 really good guys on each theme team. There might be some that are better than others, but at the beginning of the year, it's a little bit harder to do. This later in the year, it's definitely easier to do. Now, the 49ers I know are a really popular theme team because they have a lot of good players. They've got Kittle, Juszczyk, they've got Steve Young. You can run a quarterback. They got a lot of options, and then defensively, they of course have a lot too. You know, teams that go to the Super Bowl, Chiefs are also a good one because they've gotten so many good players throughout the year. I mean, just alone from the Super Bowl promo, they all got 97s and 98s so you could throw onto the squad. So if you run a theme team with a Super Bowl team, then you're going to be doing pretty well. Now, the only reason I don't do a theme team is because I want to try out a lot of the players in the game. I've never actually made one in the past, but I know a lot of people that definitely make theme teams. They enjoy making those. So if that's something you want to try with your team, definitely give it a shot. So I know I mentioned coaching chems, I believe, last, but I'm actually going to cover them here because they can tie into the theme teams, and I'm going to demonstrate that here. Mine, again, don't, but I'm going to demonstrate. So let's just assume here that I'm running a Ravens theme team, and I want to get the biggest boost out of here. Now, as you can see, I have these alternate uniforms and the base Ravens uniform. You can't upgrade. If you see I hit square on here, the upgrade button, you can't upgrade their alternate uniforms. You can upgrade their base uniforms. As far as I know, you can't upgrade any of the alternate team uniforms. Somebody let me know down in the comments if I'm wrong with that. But basically, if you go in here, as you can see, you can upgrade. The first slot is 10 trained, 50, 250. It gets progressively more expensive after that. And you unlock each of these slots. And these slots, let's go into one here. The first one I just unlocked so we can look at here. You can select each one of these. They cost 50 training. I'm not sure if they cost more as you level up the training, but so as you can see, to unlock this first tier of Ravens rushing, you need 4 components, which means you need to unlock 4 of these slots and select Ravens rushing for all of them. Now, I'm not sure when you get a little bit higher, like the 8, 9, 10, when they get more expensive, you can maybe get a ×2 or ×3 rushing. So I'm not sure about that. Someone let me know down in the comments below since I've never actually upgraded it all and done a theme team. But as you can see, you got tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes all the way to tier 10, which requires 40 components, right? So how do you get 40 components? Well, you got 10 here. Let's just assume you can only get singles because I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Let's say you've got 10 Ravens offensive rushing right here, okay? And so then you back out. You can do this on your away jersey as well, which is an additional 10 slots. You can do it on the stadium, same way as the Ravens stadium. You could go in here. Again, I unlocked one so we can see. Ravens rushing is in here. So you can unlock that just like you did on the uniforms. And then the last one, which I'm not going to show just because I don't want to put him in there and upgrade him, is the head coach. So John Harbaugh is the Ravens head coach. If I put him in there, he has the similar slots. You can unlock them. And it only boosts those players. So if I did John Harbaugh on the Ravens, it would only boost Ravens players. All of my other players on my team will be unaffected. So that's really only a good method to use if you're running a theme team, of course. If you're not running a theme team, you can definitely still take advantage of coaching chemistries, and a lot of people don't seem to understand how amazing this John Madden is. Now, I only have 4 of the tokens. I was very, very close to getting the 5th one, and I kind of missed out on it. It works similarly. The problem is getting these tokens is very, very expensive. You get them with the competitive trophies, which I've got 277 right now for season 5. You need 1,000 of them to get one of these trophies. It's super cheap to get Madden. I think it's like 10 trophies, 50 trophies or something like that. And after that, you need to get each one of these tokens to plug in here to get the benefits. And then of course, you can upgrade Madden as you go along. It doesn't cost any training, it just costs the cost of the token. So looking at them here, as you can see, I've got 2 of mine on rushing and 2 of mine on passing, and they give you some pretty sweet bonuses. So tier 1 only gets you about half of these items, and then tier 2 gets you the other half. That's why I kind of doubled up on those 2 to get the bonuses. I really might need to move some around to defense, but I like having them on offense here. +1 carrying, +1 stiff arm, and basically everything on offense is boosted by 1. But it's not just the offense. Yes, most of these stats apply only to offense, but it boosts the entire team. So for example, even though these are only Madden passing, they actually apply to my defensive players too. As you can see, I get a +1 catch. That will apply to every defensive player I have, even though this is a offensive one. So again, you also have passing D and run D. You can kind of see the tier 1, tier 2. On pass D, tier 1, which is again one of the tokens, you get finesse move and 1 zone coverage. And then when you power it up to tier 2, you get 1 power move, man coverage, and 1 press. Run defense, kind of similar, 1 tackle, 1 block shed, +1 pursuit at tier 2, +1 play rec, and +1 hit power. So these are really, really good to stack. And yes, they are expensive, but I think they're absolutely worth it if you're not running the theme team. I know with 1,000 trophies, you could get what, like maybe 250,000 coins instead. I think this is definitely worth it. I would pay like 500,000 coins for one of these things. It boosts your entire team. And let me show you kind of what that does to my team overall. Now, I do have additional chemistries on my team that we're about to go over here that boost them. But all of my offense, basically everyone on my offense is boosted up by 1 overall, with the exception of some of these linemen here, mostly because of these John Madden cards. Some of the other chemistries help as well, but it is really, really important. And don't even think about their overall isn't really that important. Yes, it's nice to see 96 overall. It's a really good team and all, but really think about the stats that it's boosting. Like if you're getting +1 catch, pass under pressure for your quarterback, throw power, things like that. That is really, really important. The route running for your wide receivers, your running back, juke move, all that. That's really, really important. Even if it doesn't really boost their overall and it's not something you can easily visually see, it really does help, especially if you're hitting certain thresholds when you boost your stats with those chemistries. All right, so the third type of chemistry are going to be the scheme chems. So these are different. These are separated between offensive and defensive. So these chemistries, you have a set for offense that only apply to offensive players and a set for defense that only applies to defensive players. We'll look at Bo here just because Bo knows and he's a beast. So every offensive player you can choose the same exact abilities, chemistries. We'll go over abilities maybe in another video if y'all would like that. So there's a couple different options, and every offensive player has these same. As you can see, these are actually the same ones. You can do ×1, ×2, ×3, and I believe if you hit 98 overall, maybe 97, you can get a ×4, and that just gives you more of that chemistry, of course. So you have 6 options that you can use for offensive players. You can do balanced offense, power run, zone run, go deep, West Coast, and play fake. Now, you have a few options when you're choosing your offensive chemistry. So at the beginning of the year, you might have been better going with balanced offense. The reason for that is it's harder to get up to this top tier. Why is it not going down? Getting to the 30 components, because you don't get ×2 until you hit 88 overall. I think it's 94 when you hit ×3 overall as options to do. And obviously that will add more. So the ×3 counts to 3 towards your number of tiers, or 30 out of 30 or whatever. times 2 only counts as 2. So you want to get them as high as possible. At the beginning of the year, most of your players are only going to have times 1. You'll have a couple that are times 2, and then you'll eventually get times 3. So it's harder. Balanced offense boosts everybody on your offense, but they're not as specific. So maybe at the beginning of the year, those are better. But at this point in the year, and look, they're not very expensive. If I wanted to buy balanced offense times 3, I could craft it for 35 training. That's not very expensive. Power run is 85, West Coast 85. So balanced offense is the cheap. Oh, it says cost right there. Anyway, so balanced offense is the cheapest, and then the other ones are all 85 just at times 3. They're not very expensive to do, and they help out a lot. So basically, once you get a little bit higher players, you're going to want to break it out between your skill players, like your quarterback, wide receivers, and tight ends. Maybe it depends on the tight end. You're going to want to break those out. So you're either going to want to do power run or zone run on your lineman and running back / fullback. And then you're going to want to do one of these 3 down here for your wide receivers and quarterbacks. Maybe tight ends. So I chose zone run. As you can see here, I've got it boosted all the way up to 30 out of 30. So I get +2 spin move, +2 juke, +2 carry, and +2 run block. Now, power run, so the reason I didn't do power run is because it kind of boosts the running on specific types of runs. We can go over really quick. Tier 1 is +1 stiff arm, impact block. Tier 2 is lead block, +1 break tackle. Why is it not going down? Tier 3 is +1 truck and +1 run block power. Tier 4 is 1 stiff arm again, impact block, 5 lead block, break tackle, 6 truck, run block power. So you kind of get it. You get a lot more of the trucking ability. So if you have a back that's like Bo's definitely a power back. That trucking and the stiff arm and all that's really, really good. And also the impact block and the lead block, those work on zone and man runs, from my understanding. And they just affect how good your offensive linemen block. Offensive linemen suck at this point in the year anyway. They're kind of stupid. They're AI. There's not much you can do with them. But anyway, it's good to boost that up as much as you can. The reason I go with the zone run is because the spin move, which I don't really use spin move with Bo, but I do with my elusive backs, which I don't have any right now, but I will. The juke move is very important, +2 carrying so they don't fumble, and +2 run block. So the run block helps across the board with blocking. So zone run might be a little more like general, I think, for running, but I think it's better for the way that I run my offense. If you're just a straight up power runner that likes to run up the middle, you don't run outside, you don't do a whole lot of evasive stuff, power run might be the way for you to go. Okay, so switching over to Mike Vick here to look at these skill players. Again, you have play fake, West Coast, and go deep. So play fake, I honestly don't know anybody that uses this one. You got one +1 pass block power, +1 throw on the run, +1 pass block, +1 play action. So it boosts up your play action and everything. Play action is not really the meta this year just because of how quickly the guys can get to your quarterback now, the edge blitzers. So personally, if you run a lot of play action, maybe this is the way for you to go. I don't know anyone that runs it personally though, but maybe that's how your offense runs. We'll look at go deep really quick. So the reason I don't use go deep is because I have Michael Vick and he's got one of the strongest arms in the game. But for this one, you can see you got +1 throw power, +2 throw power, and then the deep route running and all that stuff. Mike's pretty good at that already, so I don't really feel a need to use this. Most of my receivers are pretty good at deep route running as well. So what I choose to use is West Coast. Now, if you're using a quarterback that has lower throw power, go deep might be a good one for you if they're not good at the deep pass. They're good at the short and intermediate. Maybe you use go deep to get that boost there. But I use West Coast, +2 catch, +2 pass block finesse, +2 catch in traffic, which is really important for me because my guys kind of suck at that, and +2 throw under pressure, which is also really important for me because I throw on the run a lot with Michael Vick, and a lot of times that'll happen under pressure, or if he's in the pocket under pressure, regardless, it makes him a little bit better at throwing under pressure. So again, I would go with either West Coast or go deep unless you do run a lot of play action for some reason. And it's just going to depend on your player schemes, what they're good at and what they're not good at. If they're not good at something, consider using that chemistry. Unless they are good at something and they're close to hitting certain thresholds for certain animations and things like that. That'll be a different video if you want me to go over thresholds. I don't want to run this one too long, so we won't cover that right now. Let's get into the defensive side. So on the defensive side, we're going to look at Aaron Donald here, just as our base guy. So we got, again, balanced D, which is kind of the same as offense. It's sort of a general. I would run that more towards the beginning of the year, or if you're just starting out, if you got it at Christmas or something, that's a good one when you have lower overall players and you can't hit the 30 out of 30 on the individual ones. But you also have run stuff, pass rush, that's going to be more for your D-line and blitzing linebackers. And then for your DBs and any coverage linebackers, you really just have lockdown. There's not as many options on defense, but that's kind of good because it means you can focus down. Again, balanced D I would run if you're at the beginning, and you can't. The only way you can hit 30 out of 30 is with balanced D. But really, what you want to do is break it out again. So lockdown, obviously, you're going to put on your DBs. It's +1 catch, play rec, tackling, press, man coverage, zone coverage, catch, play rec, tackle, pass, man coverage, zone coverage. So it's really good. You can end up boosting your zone coverage and man coverage for everyone by 2, which is really good for some of those guys that are lacking in some of those categories. So lockdown definitely use on your DBs and any coverage linebackers that you're not going to be blitzing. Now, for your D-line and your blitzing linebackers, which is really important for me because I've got guys like Lawrence Taylor and Khalil Mack, you can use either run stuff or pass rush. Guys, I'm just going to tell you right now, the meta this year is pass rush. You pass rush the guys, whether you have blitzing linebackers, LT and Khalil Mack do that, or you have your defensive end screaming off the edge. Pass rush is going to be your move. So for pass rush, when you get it 30 for 30, you get +2 pursuit, +2 press, +2 catch, +2 impact block, which affects how hard they push the offensive lineman back because you have that also on the offensive side. And then the really big ones are the +2 power move and the +2 finesse move. Those are really, really good for getting off the block. So if you can get full 30 for 30, it'll really help your guys out. Now run stuff, you can do, you get +1 tackle, impact block, pursuit, play recognition, all that. You get good hit power, which is nice, but you don't get any help with your blitzing. If you don't blitz a lot, maybe do the run stuff, but guys, really, you need to be blitzing a lot this year. It's what everyone's doing. So I would definitely recommend pass rush for your D linemen and any linebackers. Maybe a DB that you blitz all the time, something like that. Any of those players, I would recommend putting pass rush on. So going back to Michael Vick here for the fourth and final type of chemistry, and these are the most expensive. I call them the physical chemistries. I think that's kind of the name a lot of people call them. So looking at him here, and again, similar things, you got ×2 or ×1. Just to get more for the thresholds. The three that I see everyone using are either Sprinter, Shaker, or Brawler. Some people will tell me Shaker sucks. I've been considering switching to Sprinter, but let's go over what each one does. We'll look at the crappier ones first. Acrobat's actually not bad. +1 agility, +1 jump. No one's doing aggressive catches this year, so I don't know about that. -1 strength. So the thing with these, when you get to a certain tier, they start to take away from other abilities. So you really want to look at who you're putting these on, because you don't want to be taking strength away from your linemen, right? Because they don't need to jump higher, definitely not, unless you're not batting passes down or something. But you don't want to sacrifice strength for those guys. But then you get another point in agility, and then +1 speed, which is really nice, -1 excel. So really for this one, if you get all the way up to 30, you're losing 1 excel, 1 strength, and you're getting, 2 agility and 1 speed. So, it's not bad. You get the +1 jump, but +1, it's for losing the strength and the agility. For losing the strength and the acceleration is really underrated. It's really important because if you're stopping and going, you really want that. Leaper, this one, I don't even know about this one. +1 jump, +1 excel, +1 jump, +1 speed. So you don't lose a lot, you only lose 1 agility, but why do you want +2 jump? No one's doing aggressive catches. Even with Calvin Johnson in the game now, he's like 10 feet tall. No one's really doing aggressive catches, so definitely I'd steer clear of these two. The main one, everyone loves Sprinter. So Sprinter is +1 excel, -1 agility, +1 speed, -1 strength, plus excel, and then you get -1 strength, -1 agility, +1 speed. So overall, you get +2 speed and +2 acceleration, which is really, really nice. But you do need to be aware that you're losing agility on these players and strength. But strength, it shouldn't really matter as much to these players for strength. You should be putting these on skill players. But the agility is important because it controls how they maneuver around in the field, which is sort of why I don't use Sprinter personally. But I still have been considering switching to it, and I know a lot of people that do use it. So Shaker, you get overall, again, I've got my max out at 30 for 30, +2 excel, -2 strength, +1 agility, -2 jump. I don't care about jump. It doesn't bother me at all that I lose points in that. -2 strength, I don't put it on my linemen, or I have it on a few just to get the 30 for 30, but I'm planning on switching. +2 excel and +1 agility. So you don't get any speed boost. A lot of my guys are pretty darn fast anyway, and they get that +2 excel. So when I catch the ball, if it's like a curl route or something, and then they get going, they can jet out of there really quick. And +1 agility, so you don't lose any agility, which is really nice for me. The last one that I'm probably going to put this on all my linemen, and then I'm either going to go with Shaker or Sprinter on my skill players, but it's going to be Brawler. So you get +1 strength, +1 speed, -1 excel, +1 strength again, -1 agility, +1 speed. So all you're losing with Brawler is 1 excel and 1 agility. I don't care about that really for my linemen or any of my big dudes. So I'm going to put Brawler on them. That's pretty good. You get the +2 strength and then +2 speed, which isn't super useful, but whatever. You get the +2 strength. It's really nice. So these are really expensive. To get the ×2, it costs 2,000 training. ×1 is 800 training. It's not super expensive anymore in the game. It was very expensive back at the beginning. And just so you know, to get the ×2 available for your players, they do have to be a 95 overall. Otherwise, you'll only be able to get the single one for them. So those are the 4 types of chemistries. Now, really quick before we finish up, I want to go over how it affects your stats and how it actually boosts their overall. Again, I wouldn't really focus too much on their overall, but it is nice to see the blue numbers on here. Like Vic's normally a 97, as you can see in that screen, and it boosts him to a 98, which is kind of nice. Now, how it actually goes about, look at my backup quarterbacks. They're obviously phenomenal. But how these stats boost their overall, it just depends on the type of position that they play and their archetype, really. So Mike Vick is a scrambling type quarterback, for example. So the speed, agility, anything like that really helps him. Obviously, any of the throwing is going to help him as well. But if you boosted all the speed up on a John Elway, let's assume he's actually powered up some, boosting his speed by 3 or 4 isn't going to help like a John Elway type of card because he's a strong arm quarterback, right? Same for Tom Brady here because he's a field general. When I'm talking about archetype, again, that might be a whole other type of video if y'all want it. I'm talking about the little blue at the top. You can see the general whatever hat there at the top of Brady's, and then you see the cleat at the top of Vick's. There are different archetypes of players. So if you see, like if Brady somehow had 90 speed, but he was a field general archetype quarterback, the speed wouldn't really help him a lot. It would boost him some, but not as much. So that's how you want to use your chemistries to help out certain players. So Vick, the more I boost his speed and agility, the better it's going to raise his overall if you really care about that. So guys, just to rehash, it is really, really important to use your chemistries, especially ones like these that are very cheap. I need to get my lockdown maxed up, but it's so useful. These physical chems are really nice, and again, I cannot stress enough how important these Madden ones are. Definitely, if you're running a theme team, don't worry about them. But if you're not running a theme team, you need to be trying to get your trophies to get these Madden. They will really, really help a lot. Again, team chemistries just sort of depends on if you want to run that theme team or not. But that is going to do it for this video, guys. Y'all let me know down below in the comments if you have any questions. Also, let me know what chemistries you're running on your team, which scheme chemistries, physical chemistries, whether you're running a theme team, and whether you have any coaching chemistries outside of your theme team or on your theme team as well. As always, guys, before we get out of here, I want to shout out the following people for supporting my previous video. It's Paul at TexasCCTX361, Julian Bolt at Julian Bolt YouTube, which he has a YouTube channel, so go check that out. Bobby Michaels at BigBob13227. Shout out to him. He's one of the OGs. I think he was in the top 50 of my initial subscribers. And finally, it's Bkindel. He has a YouTube channel as well, so make sure you go check that out. He's got a lot of good glitchy plays out there that you can use a weekend league to frustrate your opponent, so go check out his channel. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I will see you on the next one.